Hey guys, how's it going? Another Trade Genius podcast with Bob and Phil here. We're going to talk about Coca-Cola and those who profit off of Coke and how they're getting their profits might surprise you. So let's dive into this video and check it out.
Trade Junior.
So Bob, you had found some interesting facts on basically Coke, who owns Coke, and how they're getting a lot of their profits, which I found very interesting. Maybe you can elaborate on that.
Yeah, so if you want to throw the first slide up here, I stumbled onto this because I was always thinking, they're always complaining about all people in America are going to bed hungry, the poor are starving, and yet we're the fattest nation on earth. And then so I ran into some numbers here that kind of blew me away. That people spend about 10% of their food budget on sugar drinks. And I was telling my wife this the other day, I said, 7-Eleven, you go to 7-Eleven, they take Snap. So, I mean, 7-Eleven is not the paragon of organic eating, okay? And and basically, what they've done is it's, just another a grifter program to gain support from the elites that own all these big food companies. And then, of course, when you dig a little bit deeper on this, is Coca-Cola owns X percentage, and I think I may have it on the next slide. They have the X percentage of the soft drink industry, and so when people are spending their SNAP benefits, I mean, look how much money that is being spent.
Incredible.
It's incredible, and it's 40% of Coke's revenue.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
amazing.
so
I didn't know
that
that.
blew me away more than anything else. I knew people were abusing SNAP. I mean, they're doing it legally, but they're abusing it. It never used to be that way. Remember, you used to have the cheese handouts and stuff like that. Is now they just basically throwing money at these people. They don't care what they buy. But I was absolutely astonished that Coke gets 40% of their revenue from SNAP. Uh, you know. Participants.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there saying, okay, so why are we doing this? Why can't the food be it has to be not packaged in a way in which it's basically high fat, high carbohydrate. And I don't think this is a left right issue. Remember when Michelle Obama got absolutely barbecued because she actually wanted the kids to eat normal food in school? And I just think that, right here we're just enabling more bad behavior. We just can't understand why these people are acting out and not participating, and the crime rate's high, and because pretty much whatever you want you get, and just leave us alone. And the rich don't care because guys like Buffett, he absolutely benefits from this. And the thing, again, on a Buffett tirade for a second, is that the guy's a big lefty, right? He's always wagging his finger at us, because of the evil right and this and that. But he has Coke, which kills people, right? He has Apple Computer, which uses slave labor. You remember the pipeline that they shut down from Canada? Guess who benefited from that? Burlington Northern, because they had to ship the oil via rail versus coming through the pipeline. He owns a manufactured home business in the Midwest that was jammed for predatory pricing. He owns See's Candy, which is basically a diabetes factory. And then he owns Wells Fargo, which constantly is getting fined for you know unprofessional behavior. And so I'm sitting there going, these guys just sit up there. They really don't care about you or me at all. And look how many hundreds of billions of dollars are we spending on these programs, and the purpose behind them have been lost. It's now just throw money at these people so they don't riot on us. So I thought it was interesting. I don't think people really realize that. I thought I'd throw people's attention. I'd love to get your thoughts in the comments on that. But with Rand Paul talking and Ron Paul talking about all the waste in the government, here you go. We have welfare programs that are actually killing people. which will cost us more later because all these people are going to end up with diabetes and heart disease by the time they're in their 50s. So, he gets to suck all the cash out, and then we get to pay the higher health premiums, in the future as these people get older. So, anyway, throw it back to you if you have any final thoughts on that.
When I looked at this information, I thought about, and we have one more slide too of here about basically Berkshire Hathaway profiting right from the tax base essentially, and we see a number of high net worth individuals, billionaires that are in a similar situation where ultimately they're grifting off the tax base, right? And I started to think, you essentially have powerful players dictating how tax dollars get spent for their benefit, right? And that's really who's being represented, right, in government. And I thought about, well, criminal behavior. There's been a number of studies that tie criminal behavior to diet and the lack of a good diet, right? I mean, your brain needs to be fed correctly, and if not, you get chemical imbalances. And you get, it results in things like criminal behavior. So it's almost like they have this huge scam going where, you're going to keep a percentage of the population addicted to sugar. You're going to have a percentage of the population that isn't going to be productive. That fuels who's running prisons, who's invested in prisons. See, this all feeds into this huge machine, right, of profit making. And it's almost like a guaranteed outcome for these guys. And so, I mean, you can go down the rabbit hole on this and be, become a conspiracy theorist on this stuff. But I mean, a lot of it is true, though. I mean, it's like this sick scheme to keep part of the population sick, malnourished, and profiting from it. And I think, it made me think about that from that aspect. And I thought it was pretty disgusting, to be honest with you. And, will it change? I don't know. This system is pretty messed up, but I think you have to be aware. And if you're in this situation, I guess the takeaway is, like I said before, you have to be responsible for your own household. And if you're in a situation like this where hopefully you can take a step back and you can look and see that, hey, these guys don't have my best interests at heart, and take matters into your own hand and get away from this stuff, get away from this bad food, get away from this junk, and start improving your life. So if anybody can take something away from it, maybe that's it.
Yeah, and we did a podcast on, how the Republicans always seem to throw away opportunities. Well, here's a wedge issue that I think is a win-win for them. Look, we're going to redirect, people's SNAP budget into better nutrition so people are healthier. At the same time, we get to deprive the Democrats and their lobbyists, a money source to fund their power. These are the kind of things that we need to start thinking about doing more and more and more. Look, I'm all about helping the poor, and I know you are as well. It's criminal to leave people, destitute in a country as wealthy as ours. But all we're doing is putting a facade on this. Just like the homeless crisis, it's absolutely criminal to me that anybody's homeless, and we could do a whole story on that too. And our country's not going to get out of this whirlpool unless we start addressing some of these things. So I appreciate letting me bring it up, Phil. I think it's we need to really start challenging the system if we want to make the system better.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you started looking at this stuff in this light. And again, I didn't even, look at the metrics on some of this stuff and realize how much of that is taxpayer funded. And it's pretty remarkable. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. All right, guys, well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Trade Genius podcast. Let us know your thoughts on all this. And what do you think about the fact that, taxpayer money is funding so much of the malnourishment going on in the country, among other things? So let us know your thoughts below, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.
Trade Genius.